So, one thing I struggle a lot with is just a lack of drive. And what I mean by that is just putting myself to do tasks and then do things I want to do. Like wanting to do YouTube. It's been a major struggle of mine and I've always had a lack of commitment to do it. But even right now, before I started recording this, I was on my phone watching Instagram Reels, and I didn't plan on recording, and honestly, I haven't felt like recording a new little video for a few days, and I realized that if I didn't force myself to do this, I wouldn't have done it, and I feel like it's a major issue of mine. It's just a lack of passion for things, and having to force myself to do things. I know this. Okay, I'm repeating myself a lot, but at least now I wrote down talking points. I have little notes on my notes in my phone. I have written down the points I want to talk about. So I feel like I often have to force myself to do things, and it causes it's just like I don't really feel the drive to do certain things anymore. And I feel I have to push myself to do those things. And it often causes a lack of commitment for me. Because when I push myself to do a certain thing, I kind of only do it that one time and then I can't bring myself to do it again. Like for YouTube and streaming, I've wanted to done YouTube and streaming for years and years. Probably over a decade by now, but every time I try, it goes good for maybe a couple weeks, but then I just lose the drive to do it. And I enjoy doing it. I just have to I just can't bring myself to do it. I often have to push myself to do a certain task. And so it affects all areas of my life, like hanging out with people. I often won't want to do it unless I feel like doing it exactly in that moment of time. It's gotten a bit better, but back then it was really worse, where I would be invited out to places and I just didn't have the drive to do said thing. And it's definitely I can definitely see it affect my productive life. With school, I often wait until the very last moment to do things because I just don't have the drive. And then when I'm finally at the very last moment, like say an assignment is due at the very last moment, I feel it's very urgent, and so then I have to do it, or else I will fail and live in my parents' basement for the rest of my life. And no one wants that. Nobody wants that. But it's just a major lack of drive that I don't really know how to get. You kind of just have to push yourself. The only thing I really have a drive for at the moment is working out. That's because it brings me genuine enjoyment from exercising, and it's a schedule I stick with for the most part. I'm just working out at the Planet Fitness by my house. Exactly. But having a lack of drive and a lack of commitment to things, it's affected relationships even, where I would always struggle to really just engage in romantical relationships because I can never just fully commit to it. And I think that's more so just the fact that commitment is very scary. Because, for me at least, I find it as this major step you have to take in your life. And you have to, like, for a person, right? For me to want to commit to them, I have to be able to see them being a part of my life for the rest of it. And if I don't see it, then I often struggle to pursue romantically, even if I do want said person, which I'm not really sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's something. It's something that's in my life that I do wish to work on, but just taking that step and not knowing if said person is right is very terrifying. I also often struggle to find purpose with many things that I do, and if I don't see them being worth it, I simply just won't have the discipline to do it, motivation to do it. That's the right word. I'll often force myself to do certain things, and I'll put things off till the very last minute. Like appointments, I was trying to get contacts this past year. I failed on, by the way. I could not get those contacts in my eyes. But I wanted contacts, and I would always delay setting up appointments just because I didn't have the drive to do it. And I'm not sure if that's related to depression. Well, it likely is. But I have noticed as my depression has slowly, or I don't think it's slowly, I think it's definitely um gotten better. I have noticed that I've been able to be committed to more things. Not to say that my issue is fully over. It's just something I've noticed is that it's a lot easier to commit to things when you feel like they're actually worth it. And I do find some things to be more worth it compared to earlier in the year. But the main reason I wanted to make a video on this topic is because if not, I wouldn't have made a video. I'm going to be honest. I was sitting there. I think I already said this. I'm going over what I said. But I was literally sitting there realizing that if I didn't get up and do this right now, I wouldn't end up making a video because it was in this moment that I felt the urge to make a video. And that's basically my entire life is if I feel the urge in that moment to do it, I will be okay with doing it. But if I don't in the moment have the urge to do it or just commit myself to it, I won't do it. And I think that is just a problem that needs to be worked on. Now, I don't really know if I have any advice for having the drive or commitment. It's kind of just something I've come to notice about myself. And I think self-analysis self-analysis is very good. And I think everyone can look towards self-analysis that you should just kind of just look at yourself at and kind of think about like what issues you may have and how to work to fix those issues. It's no longer free housing. You have to pay a diamond. But you should look towards those inner issues of yourself. Like, that's the main reason I wanted to make this video, was to just analyze an issue I had. And hopefully someone out there can find this video and realize that they may struggle with a lack of drive or forcing yourself to do things or just not putting in effort in things that may deserve more effort than one realizes. So that's all I had to talk about for this video. I am struggling to find topics to talk about. So I'm gonna try to think. I'm gonna brainstorm, definitely gonna brainstorm. But it's definitely a struggle because I want to talk about things that like actually have meaning to me and are interesting in something that people may relate to. And so it's just trying to think of those video ideas. And then if I actually have enough to talk about when I'm recording. So hopefully this series does get better overall. Hopefully you did find something from this video that maybe you can take from, or at least have just listened to. You know, I want to make this I want to make this series something that you can, you know, play in the background and just listen to. But hopefully you enjoyed this little video, and hopefully you got something out of my little talk. Anyways, bye bye.